Thailand's rainforest is older than the Amazon. A bedtime cultural discovery story. Chapter 1. The forest I never expected. Before coming to Thailand, I believed I already knew what the world's greatest rainforest looked like. Like many people growing up in England, I had watched countless documentaries about the Amazon. The Amazon was always presented as the ultimate wilderness, the lungs of the earth, the king of all rainforests. If someone had asked me where to find the world's oldest tropical forest, I would have answered immediately. The Amazon, without hesitation, without doubt. And Thailand? Thailand, in my imagination, was something completely different. It was beaches, long-tail boats, street food, golden temples, tropical islands, and smiling people. Rainforests were never part of the picture. Certainly not ancient ones. Certainly not forests that could challenge everything I thought I knew. Yet that misunderstanding followed me all the way across the world. And it remained with me until the morning I arrived in southern Thailand. The place was called Khao Sok. I had almost skipped it. That still makes me laugh. I had spent weeks planning my trip. Most of my attention had gone toward famous places. Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Phuket, Krabi, places I had seen online thousands of times. Khao Sok appeared only as a small green patch on the map. A place between destinations. A stopover. Nothing more. At least that's what I thought. The minivan left Surat Thani before sunrise. Outside the window, darkness still covered the countryside. Occasionally, I saw small lights glowing from distant houses. Tiny islands of yellow floating inside an ocean of black. The road twisted gently through hills. Rain tapped softly against the glass. The air conditioning hummed quietly. Most passengers slept. I tried to sleep too, but excitement kept me awake. The driver played soft Thai music through the speakers. I couldn't understand the words, yet somehow the music felt perfectly suited to the journey. Slow, gentle, almost dreamlike. As the sky slowly brightened, the landscape began to reveal itself. Rubber plantations appeared first, then small villages, then mist-covered hills, and then something changed. The hills grew steeper, the trees became taller, the greenery seemed deeper somehow, darker, older. The further we traveled, the more it felt as if we were entering another world, a world untouched by time. The van finally stopped outside a small lodge. Rain had just ended. The smell that greeted me was unforgettable. Wet earth, leaves, wood, fresh water. It smelled alive. Not the way cities smell alive. Not even the way beaches smell alive. This was something older, something quieter. I stepped out and listened. At first, I thought the forest was silent. Then I realized it wasn't silent at all. It was singing, birds, insects, distant calls I couldn't identify. The gentle dripping of water from leaves, every sound layered upon another, creating a rhythm that felt ancient. A man standing near the reception desk smiled. Welcome. His English was excellent. His name was Arun. He would become my guide. And without realizing it, one of my teachers. After checking in, I sat on a wooden terrace overlooking the forest. A river flowed below. Morning mist drifted above the water. The jungle stretched endlessly toward distant mountains. Towering limestone cliffs rose from the trees, their gray faces disappearing into clouds. For a long moment, I simply stared. Photos had not prepared me. Videos had not prepared me. Nothing had prepared me. The jungle seemed too large, too alive, too real. Arun arrived carrying 2 cups of tea. He handed one to me. Beautiful morning, he said. It is. He smiled. First time in Khao Sok? Yes. You picked a good season. The mist drifted slowly across the valley. For a while, neither of us spoke. Sometimes silence feels uncomfortable. This silence did not. Eventually, I asked the question every tourist asks. So, what's special about Khao Sok? Arun laughed. Not loudly, just enough to suggest he had heard the question many times before. How much time do you have? I smiled. A few days. Not enough. We both laughed. Then he pointed toward the forest. You know how old that forest is? I shook my head. No idea. Older than the Amazon. I blinked. Sorry? Older than the Amazon. I stared at him, certain I had misunderstood. Maybe his English. Maybe mine. The Amazon? I repeated. Yes. The Amazon rainforest? Yes. I laughed. Not because I wanted to be rude, because the statement sounded impossible. Arun didn't seem offended. He simply sipped his tea, waiting. Eventually, my smile faded. He wasn't joking. You mean actually older? Much older. The forest stretched before us. Mist moving between giant trees. Birds calling from somewhere unseen. And suddenly, everything looked different. The same forest, but no longer ordinary. No longer just another beautiful destination. Now it carried a mystery. A question. Could this really be true? Arun seemed to sense my curiosity. Most visitors don't know. I definitely didn't. They think Thailand has beaches. I laughed. Guilty. They think Thailand has islands. Also guilty. They think rainforests belong somewhere else. I nodded. Very guilty. Arun smiled. Then maybe Khao Sok will surprise you. The day grew brighter. Sunlight began filtering through clouds. Tiny droplets on leaves sparkled like glass. The river below reflected patches of silver. Everything felt peaceful. But beneath that peace, curiosity had awakened. I wanted to know more, much more. That afternoon, we walked along a narrow trail leading into the forest. The air felt warm and damp. Every breath carried the scent of plants. Massive tree roots twisted across the ground. Vines hung from branches. Ferns covered nearly every surface. The deeper we walked, the less the modern world seemed to exist. No traffic, no advertisements, no engines, only nature and time. Lots of time. Arun moved slowly, never rushing, occasionally stopping to point at something. A mushroom, a strange insect, a bird hidden among leaves. Things I would never have noticed alone. At one point, he touched the bark of a giant tree. This forest survived many changes. What do you mean? He looked upward. Dinosaur age. I laughed. He didn't. Again, he wasn't joking. The ancestors of some plants here are very ancient. The forest suddenly felt older still. Not centuries, not thousands of years, but millions. The idea was difficult to grasp. Human history suddenly seemed tiny. A brief moment, a flicker, compared to the age of the forest. We continued walking. The jungle thickened around us. Sunlight reached the ground only in scattered beams. Everything glowed green, different shades of green, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. The longer I looked, the more I noticed. No two leaves were exactly alike. No two trees. No two sounds. Life existed everywhere, and somehow all of it felt connected. As afternoon turned toward evening, we returned to the lodge. The forest changed once more. Daytime birds grew quieter. New sounds emerged. Crickets, frogs, creatures hidden by darkness. A soft rain began falling. The river reflected the fading sky. Guests gathered quietly around the restaurant. Conversations remained hushed, almost respectful, as if everyone sensed something special about this place. I sat alone on the terrace, watching rain ripple across the water, thinking about what Arun had told me, older than the Amazon. The words refused to leave my mind. Back home, nobody had mentioned this. School hadn't mentioned it. Documentaries hadn't mentioned it. Travel websites barely mentioned it. Why? Why did so few people know? The forest seemed content to keep its secrets. No need for attention. No need for fame. It simply existed, as it always had, long before airplanes, long before roads, long before tourists, long before any of us. That night, I fell asleep listening to rain. The forest breathed outside my window, slowly, patiently, ancient beyond imagination. And somewhere deep inside the darkness, hidden among mountains and mist, Thailand's oldest secret waited to reveal itself. Tomorrow, Arun promised, I would begin to understand why this forest was unlike any place I had ever seen. And why so many people leave Khao Sok seeing Thailand differently than before. Chapter 2. A forest older than memory. I woke before sunrise. For a moment, I did not know where I was. The room was dark. The air felt cool. And somewhere beyond the wooden walls, the forest was already awake. A chorus of sounds drifted through the darkness. Bird calls, insects, the distant croaking of frogs, the steady flow of the river below. Unlike the sounds of a city, none of them competed with one another. Instead, they blended together, like instruments in an orchestra that had been practicing for millions of years. I stepped onto the balcony. Mist floated above the river. The mountains appeared as dark silhouettes against a slowly brightening sky. Everything seemed suspended between night and day, a moment of perfect stillness. Then a bird called from somewhere deep in the jungle. Another answered. Soon dozens joined. The forest seemed to be greeting the morning. I wrapped my hands around a warm cup of coffee and watched the sun rise over Khao Sok. It felt impossible that such a place still existed. Not because it was beautiful. There are beautiful places everywhere. What amazed me was its age. The idea still felt unreal, older than the Amazon. Even after hearing it yesterday, I wasn't entirely convinced. Fortunately, Arun seemed to anticipate this. When I met him after breakfast, he smiled immediately. You still don't believe me. I laughed. Can you blame me? No. Everything I ever learned says the Amazon is the ultimate rainforest. The Amazon is amazing, but people often confuse biggest with oldest. That stopped me. I had never considered the difference. We began walking toward a small viewpoint near the river. The morning air felt fresh after the night's rain. Water droplets clung to leaves. Butterflies drifted through patches of sunlight. Everywhere I looked, life seemed to be emerging from sleep. Arun stopped beside a large fallen tree. Most scientists believe Khao Sok is part of one of the oldest rainforest ecosystems on Earth. I ran my hand across the bark. The wood felt rough and damp. How old? Many estimates suggest around 160 million years. I stared at him. 160 million years. The number was almost too large to understand. Human civilization suddenly felt microscopic. Ancient Egypt? Recent. The Roman Empire? Recent. The Middle Ages? Recent. Everything I considered old suddenly seemed young. Very young. Arun continued walking. The Amazon is enormous. Much larger than this. But it developed later. The trail curved through dense vegetation. Gigantic roots spread across the ground like frozen rivers. Towering trees disappeared into the canopy above. Every few steps, I found myself looking upward, trying to imagine how long these forests had existed. Not individual trees, entire ecosystems, surviving, changing, adapting through ages beyond imagination. At one point, Arun stopped beside a patch of strange plants. Their leaves looked unlike anything I had seen before. They remind me of something prehistoric. He smiled. Many visitors say that. I crouched beside them. The leaves seemed ancient somehow, as though they belonged in another era. Some plant families here have existed for an incredibly long time. I imagine dinosaurs walking through landscapes like this. Not exactly this forest, but forests related to it. Ancient tropical worlds covered in mist and giant vegetation. The thought felt surreal. Back home, prehistoric life always seemed distant, abstract, a museum exhibit, a documentary. But here, surrounded by living descendants of those ancient ecosystems, the past felt surprisingly close, almost reachable. We continued deeper into the jungle. Sunlight filtered through layers of leaves high above. The canopy created a green ceiling. Below it, everything moved slowly, patiently, like a world operating on a different clock. The forest did not rush. It had no reason to. After surviving millions of years, a single day meant very little. Around midday, we reached a small clearing near a stream. Water flowed over smooth rocks. Tiny fish darted through clear pools. Arun sat on a fallen log. I sat beside him. For a while, we simply listened. The sound of moving water, the rustling of leaves, the distant cry of a bird. Eventually, I asked a question. If this place is so important, why don't more people know about it? Arun smiled. Good question. He picked up a small stone, turned it slowly in his hand. Thailand is famous for many things. Beaches. Exactly. Food. Yes. Temples. Also, yes. He tossed the stone gently into the stream. The forest doesn't advertise itself. I laughed. No billboards? No billboards. No marketing campaigns? No. The stream carried the stone away beneath the water. The forest is patient. That sentence stayed with me. The forest is patient. Perhaps that was why it remained hidden from so many people. It didn't demand attention. It didn't compete for it. It simply existed, waiting for those willing to find it. As we rested, a movement in the trees caught my eye. Something large, dark, gone almost instantly. What was that? Arun looked toward the branches. A monkey. That's all I saw. He nodded. They usually see you first. I scanned the canopy. Suddenly, I noticed movement everywhere. Leaves shifting, branches swaying, shadows jumping between trees. The forest felt alive in a way I had never experienced before. Not crowded, not chaotic. Alive. Every layer contained something. Insects beneath leaves, birds above, animals hidden among branches, fish beneath the water, plants growing on other plants, life stacked upon life, an endless network of connections. And somehow, it all worked. Not perfectly, but beautifully. Later that afternoon, we arrived at a small village near the edge of the national park. Wooden houses stood beneath coconut trees. Children rode bicycles along quiet roads. A few elderly residents sat outside, chatting beneath shaded porches. Life moved slowly here. The pace felt different from cities, different from tourist destinations, different even from my own life. Arun greeted several people as we walked. Everyone seemed to know him. Eventually, we stopped near a small shop. An elderly woman sat weaving baskets. Her hands moved with remarkable precision. She smiled when she saw us. Arun introduced me. We sat together beneath a wooden awning while light rain began falling again. The woman spoke mostly Thai. Arun translated. I asked how long her family had lived near the forest. She laughed softly, then said something that made Arun smile. What did she say? She said she doesn't know. I laughed. That's not very helpful. Wait. He turned back to her. She spoke again, longer this time. Then he translated. She says her grandparents lived here. Their grandparents lived here, and their grandparents before them. The rain tapped gently against the roof. The old woman continued speaking, her voice calm and steady. Arun listened carefully, then translated again. She says the forest has always been here. Simple words, yet somehow profound. The forest has always been here. Of course, logically it hadn't always been here, but from a human perspective, it almost had. Generations came and went. The forest remained. Empires rose and disappeared. The forest remained. Technology transformed the world. The forest remained. The old woman looked toward the mountains. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then she said something quietly. Arun smiled. What did she say? She said, people think they take care of the forest. And sometimes the forest takes care of people too. The rain grew slightly heavier. The scent of wet earth filled the air. I watched the mist gathering around distant limestone cliffs, and for the first time, I began to understand. This place wasn't important merely because it was old. It was important because it changed how people thought about time, about nature, about their place within the world. Back home, I often view nature as something separate from daily life, a place to visit, a place to admire, a place to photograph. But here, many people seem to view the forest differently, not as scenery, not as a resource, but as a relationship, something living, something worthy of respect. That evening, as we walked back toward the lodge, the sky turned shades of orange and purple. The river reflected the colors perfectly. Birds crossed overhead. The jungle glowed beneath the fading sunlight. Arun stopped on the bridge overlooking the water. Tomorrow, he said. What happens tomorrow? We go to the lake. The famous one? He smiled. The famous one. I had seen photographs. Towering limestone cliffs rising from emerald water. Mist drifting between mountains. It looked beautiful. But after everything I had learned today, I suspected it was more than beautiful. It was part of a story millions of years old, a story still being written. That night, rain returned once again, soft, steady, comforting. I lay in bed, listening to the sounds of the forest, and as sleep slowly arrived, I found myself imagining ancient worlds, ancient forests, ancient life, all connected in ways I had never understood before. Tomorrow, deeper inside Khao Sok, another piece of Thailand's hidden story would reveal itself, and with it, another reason why this remarkable rainforest has survived for so very long. Chapter 3: The Lake Beneath the Ancient Cliffs. The rain had stopped sometime during the night. When I woke, the world outside my window seemed impossibly clear. The river reflected the pale colors of dawn. Mist drifted lazily above the water. And somewhere beyond the trees, hidden from view, birds were already welcoming the morning. Today was the day we would visit the lake, the place most people associated with Khao Sok, the place I had seen countless times in photographs. Yet after the previous 2 days, I had learned something important. Photographs rarely tell the whole story, especially in Thailand, especially here. After breakfast, Arun and I climbed into a small vehicle and headed deeper into the national park. The road wound through thick forest. Mountains appeared between gaps in the trees. Some looked almost unreal. Their limestone walls rose sharply into the sky, covered in vegetation, shaped by millions of years of rain and wind. As we drove, Arun pointed toward the cliffs. Those mountains are older than most people realize. I laughed. Everything here seems older than I realize. That's true. We continued through the forest, occasionally passing monkeys beside the road, sometimes spotting giant butterflies drifting through the humid air. Everything felt alive, not in a dramatic way, in a quiet way, a patient way, as if the entire landscape had learned long ago that there was no need to hurry. After about an hour, we arrived at a small pier. Long-tail boats floated gently on the water. Tourists gathered nearby, speaking softly. Even the visitors seemed calmer here. Perhaps the scenery encouraged it, or perhaps the forest did. The lake stretched before us, still, smooth, reflecting the surrounding mountains like a giant mirror. For a moment, I forgot to speak. I had expected beauty. I had not expected silence. Not complete silence, but something close. The kind of silence that makes you lower your voice without realizing it. Arun smiled when he saw my reaction. Beautiful? I nodded, unable to find better words. We stepped into a long-tail boat. The engine started. Slowly, we glided away from the pier. The water parted gently behind us, and soon civilization disappeared. The lake widened. The mountains grew larger. Towering limestone cliffs surrounded us from every direction. Some disappeared into low clouds. Others reflected perfectly in the emerald water below. The scenery felt almost prehistoric, and perhaps that was why it affected me so deeply. Everything looked ancient, not old in the human sense, ancient in the geological sense, as though the world had somehow remained untouched. I sat quietly while the boat moved deeper into the lake. The wind felt cool against my face. The scent of fresh water mixed with the smell of the surrounding forest. Occasionally, birds crossed overhead, their reflections rippling across the surface below. After nearly 40 minutes, Arun pointed ahead. There. At first, I wasn't sure what he meant. Then I saw them. 3 limestone formations rising dramatically from the lake. Tall, narrow, almost identical, like giant stone guardians. Standing silently above the water, the boat slowed. Tourists reached for cameras. I understood why. The scene looked unreal, like something from a dream or a forgotten world. Arun watched them quietly. Then he said something unexpected. Most visitors take a photo and leave. What's wrong with that? Nothing. He smiled. But sometimes they miss the story. I looked toward the cliffs. The story? The story behind why they exist. The boat drifted gently. Water lapped softly against the hull. The landscape here was shaped over millions of years. He pointed toward the mountains surrounding us. Rain, time, movement beneath the earth. I followed his gaze. The cliffs suddenly seemed different. Not simply beautiful, not simply dramatic. They were records, evidence of immense stretches of time, proof that nature works according to a schedule far beyond human understanding. The boat continued onward. The further we traveled, the more isolated everything felt. No roads, No buildings, no signs, only water, forest, and stone. At one point, the engine stopped completely. The boat drifted. Nobody spoke. Not because we were told to remain quiet, because silence felt appropriate. The lake reflected the clouds perfectly. A kingfisher flashed across the water, bright blue, gone in an instant. Somewhere in the distance, a gibbon called. Its haunting voice echoed across the valley. The sound seemed to come from everywhere at once. I had heard recordings before, but hearing it here felt different. The call traveled through the ancient landscape, bouncing from cliff to cliff, carrying across water and forest. A reminder that this wilderness still belonged to its original inhabitants. For a few moments, I closed my eyes. The breeze, the birds, the distant gibbon, the gentle movement of the boat. Everything combined into a feeling difficult to describe. Peace, perhaps, but something deeper as well. Perspective, the realization that the world is far older, larger, and more complex than our daily concerns often allow us to remember. Eventually, the engine restarted. We continued toward a floating village. Small wooden structures rested directly on the water, connected by floating walkways, surrounded by mountains. It felt isolated from the rest of the world, and yet strangely welcoming. We stopped for lunch. Simple Thai food, fresh fish, rice, vegetables, everything tasted better somehow. Maybe because of the setting, maybe because of the air, or maybe because after spending time in nature, even ordinary things feel extraordinary. As we ate, I noticed an older man sitting nearby. His skin was darkened by years beneath the sun. His movements were slow but steady. Arun greeted him warmly. Clearly they knew each other. After a brief conversation in Thai, the man joined us. His name was Somchai. He had spent most of his life around the lake. I asked him what it was like living here. He smiled, then looked across the water before answering. Peaceful, Arun translated. Sometimes too peaceful. We laughed. Somchai continued speaking. His eyes remained fixed on the mountains. Arun listened carefully, then translated. He says every season changes the lake. The rain, the mist, the water level, the animals. But the feeling remains the same. What feeling? Somchai answered immediately. Arun smiled before translating. Respect. The word lingered in the air. Respect. Not fear. Not ownership. Respect. Somchai spoke again. Longer this time, his voice remained calm, almost reflective. He says the forest teaches patience. I nodded. That seemed familiar. The forest is patient. Arun laughed. Exactly. The same lesson appeared again, from different people, different generations, different experiences, yet always the same idea. Patience, respect, connection, values woven quietly into life beside the rainforest. After lunch, we walked along floating pathways. The lake stretched endlessly around us. Clouds drifted above distant mountains. Fish moved beneath the clear water. The entire scene felt suspended between reality and dream. At one point, I asked Arun something that had been on my mind for days. Do local people see the forest differently than tourists? He thought for a moment. Usually. How? He looked toward the surrounding cliffs. Many tourists come looking for beauty. Fair enough. Nothing wrong with that. He smiled. But many local people also see memory. I considered that. Memory. The word felt important. The forest contains family stories. He continued. Old traditions. Old knowledge. Old beliefs. Not because people live in the past, but because they remember where they came from. The lake remained perfectly still. A reflection of mountains floated beneath us. For the first time, I realized that the rainforest was not merely a natural wonder. It was also a cultural one, a living connection between generations, a place where history survived not only in books, but in daily life, in conversations, in habits, in respect passed quietly from one person to another. As afternoon slowly turned toward evening, our boat began the journey back. Golden sunlight spilled across the water. The cliffs glowed softly. Mist gathered once more among distant mountains. Everything seemed calmer than before. Or perhaps I was. The forest had begun changing the way I saw things. Not dramatically, not suddenly, slowly, like water shaping stone, like rain shaping mountains, like time shaping forests. Back at the lodge, darkness arrived gently. The sounds of the jungle returned. Crickets, frogs, the distant movement of unseen creatures. I sat alone on the terrace overlooking the river. The water reflected the moonlight. The forest beyond appeared as a dark silhouette. Ancient, patient, endless. And somewhere out there, hidden beneath the canopy, another secret waited. Tomorrow, Arun promised I will learn about one of the rarest flowers on earth, a flower so unusual that many visitors spend years hoping to see it. A flower that seemed perfectly suited to a rainforest older than memory itself. Chapter 4. The flower that smells like a mystery. That night, the forest seemed louder than usual, or perhaps I was listening more carefully. After 3 days in Khao Sok, something had changed. The sounds no longer felt unfamiliar. The chirping insects, the distant frogs, the occasional rustle of leaves outside the cabin. Instead of interrupting my sleep, they had become part of it, like waves beside the sea, or rain on a rooftop. The rainforest had its own rhythm, and slowly, I was learning to move with it. When morning arrived, sunlight filtered through layers of mist. Tiny droplets sparkled on leaves. The river below reflected patches of gold and green. Everything seemed fresh, new, yet paradoxically ancient, as though every sunrise had been repeating here for millions of years. After breakfast, Arun arrived carrying a small backpack. "You ready?" "For what?" He smiled. "A treasure hunt." I laughed. "A treasure hunt? Maybe." "What are we looking for?" His smile widened. "A flower." I looked around. The forest contained thousands of flowers. Millions, probably. What makes this one special? Arun started walking. Almost everything. The trail led deeper into the jungle than any we had taken before. The air felt warm and humid. The scent of wet earth rose from the ground. Birds called from hidden branches. Sunlight appeared only occasionally through gaps in the canopy. For nearly an hour, we walked. Sometimes crossing streams, sometimes climbing gentle slopes. The forest seemed endless. Every turn revealed something new. Gigantic roots, ancient vines, strange fungi, plants growing on other plants. Life layered upon life. At one point, I noticed Arun examining the ground carefully, almost as though he were following clues, looking for tracks. In a way, animal tracks? He laughed. "No, flower tracks." I shook my head. "I don't think flowers leave tracks. Usually they don't." His grin suggested otherwise. Eventually, we reached a narrow section of trail. The forest here felt even denser. The air seemed still, quiet, almost expectant. Arun slowed his pace, then stopped completely. "Do you smell that?" I inhaled. At first, only the scent of the rainforest. Leaves, moisture, earth. Then something else. Something unusual. Something unpleasant. I frowned. "What is that?" Arun smiled. "Good." "Good? That means we're close." The smell reminded me of something decaying. Not overwhelmingly strong, but noticeable. Very noticeable. Certainly not what I expected from a flower. We continued walking. The scent grew stronger. And then Arun stopped beside a cluster of vines. He pointed toward the forest floor. There, for a moment, I couldn't see it. Then suddenly I did. And I understood why people traveled across the world hoping to find one. The flower looked almost unreal. Massive. Deep red. Covered with patterns resembling intricate artwork. Its enormous petals spread across the ground like something from another planet. I stood completely still, speechless. The flowers seemed alive in a way ordinary flowers did not. Ancient, strange, mysterious. What is it? Arun's smile widened. Rafflesia. I had heard the name before. Somewhere. Years ago, perhaps. But seeing it in person was entirely different. The flower appeared prehistoric, as though it belonged in the age of dinosaurs. Not modern Thailand. Not the 21st century. I crouched carefully beside it. The bloom was enormous, far larger than I had imagined. And the smell? Now it made sense. It smells terrible. Arun laughed. Exactly. Why would a flower want to smell terrible? Because it attracts insects. I looked again. Several flies buzzed nearby, performing exactly the task nature intended. The rainforest once again demonstrated that beauty and usefulness were not always the same thing. The flower didn't need to smell pleasant. It needed to survive. And somehow, it has survived. For an incredibly long time, I sat quietly beside the rafflesia, listening to insects moving through the forest, watching sunlight dance across its enormous petals. The flower seemed like a symbol of everything I had learned so far. Thailand's rainforest wasn't simply beautiful. It was surprising. Every assumption I brought with me had been challenged. First, the age of the forest, then the complexity of its ecosystem, and now this, one of the world's strangest flowers hiding beneath the canopy. Arun sat beside me. Neither of us spoke for several minutes. The forest handled the conversation. Leaves rustled overhead. Birds called from distant branches. A butterfly drifted past before disappearing into the trees. Finally, I asked a question. How often do people see this? Not very often. I looked again at the flower. Its bloom would not last forever. Soon it would disappear, returning to the forest floor, leaving only memory behind. Something about that felt beautiful, not despite its temporary nature. Because of it, the rainforest seemed full of moments like this, things that existed briefly, yet mattered deeply. As we prepared to leave, I took one final look. The rafflesia remained exactly where it had been for centuries, 4 generations, appearing unexpectedly, disappearing quietly, part of the forest's endless cycle. The walk back felt different, perhaps because I was paying closer attention. Every leaf seemed important. Every tree seemed connected. The rainforest no longer felt like scenery. It felt like a living community, one that humans happened to visit. Around midday, we stopped beside a small stream. The water flowed gently over smooth stones. Tiny fish darted through shallow pools. Arun sat beneath a tree. I joined him. The forest canopy above provided shade from the tropical sun. For a while, we listened to the water. Then I asked something that had been on my mind. When you were growing up, did you always appreciate the forest? Arun laughed immediately. No. The answer surprised me. Really? When I was young, I thought it was normal. He picked up a leaf from the ground, turning it between his fingers. When something surrounds you every day, you sometimes stop noticing it. That made sense. I thought about home, about things I had taken for granted. The familiar landscapes, the familiar traditions, the familiar people. Perhaps every place contained hidden treasures invisible to those who saw them daily. The difference was that some people eventually learned to notice again. Arun smiled. Then I left. For university? Yes. What happened? He looked toward the trees. I missed it. The forest? The feeling. The stream continued flowing beside us. A steady, peaceful sound. What feeling? He thought carefully before answering. Connection. The word felt familiar. I had heard versions of it repeatedly during my time here. From villagers. From guides. From people who spent their lives near the rainforest. Connection. Not ownership. Not control. Connection. A relationship. A conversation between people and nature. The idea felt increasingly important. Back home, I often treated nature as something separate from daily life. Something optional. A place to visit during holidays. But here, many people seem to understand something different. That humans were part of nature whether they acknowledged it or not. The rainforest simply made that truth easier to see. By late afternoon, we returned to the lodge. Rain clouds gathered above the mountains. The first droplets began falling shortly afterward. Soon, a gentle shower covered the valley. The forest seemed to welcome it. Leaves glistened. The river widened slightly. Mist drifted between the trees. Everything looked softer, calmer, more peaceful. I sat on the terrace with a cup of tea, watching the rain, thinking about the rafflesia, thinking about the age of the forest, thinking about all the things I had misunderstood before arriving in Thailand. I had come expecting beaches. And yes, Thailand had beautiful beaches. I had come expecting great food. And yes, Thailand certainly had that too. But I had not expected this. An ancient rainforest older than the Amazon. rare flowers hidden beneath giant trees, villages connected to generations of forest knowledge, a landscape that quietly changed how people viewed the world. The rain continued falling, softly, steadily. The forest seemed almost sleepy, and yet I knew it was full of life. Countless creatures moving beneath leaves, countless stories hidden among trees. Tomorrow would be my final day in Khao Sok, my final opportunity to understand why this place remained so important, and perhaps, finally, to understand what the rainforest had been trying to teach me since the day I arrived. Chapter 5: What the Forest Was Trying to Teach Me. My final morning in Khao Sok arrived quietly. Rain had fallen throughout most of the night. Not a storm, just a steady, tropical rain. The kind that seems less like weather and more like a conversation between the sky and the forest. When I stepped onto the balcony before sunrise, the valley was hidden beneath mist. The river below had almost disappeared. Only faint reflections moved through the white haze. The mountains were invisible. The trees were invisible. Even the opposite bank had vanished. And yet somehow the rainforest felt more present than ever. I could hear it breathing, water dripping from leaves, birds calling somewhere beyond the mist, the distant hum of insects beginning another day. The forest was there, even when I couldn't see it. That thought stayed with me. Sometimes the most important things aren't the easiest to see. I wrapped my hands around a cup of coffee and sat quietly. There was no rush, no schedule, no need to hurry. For several days, the rainforest had slowly taught me something I had almost forgotten: how to be still. Back home, life often felt like a race. Emails, deadlines, notifications, plans, the next thing, and then the thing after that. But here, surrounded by one of the oldest rainforests on Earth, those concerns seemed strangely small. Not unimportant, just smaller. The forest had survived for millions of years. It had seen changes beyond imagination. Mountains rise, rivers shift, species appear and disappear, entire climates transform. And through all of it, life continued, adapting, growing, finding a way forward. Perhaps there was a lesson hidden inside that. After breakfast, Arun joined me for one final walk. Neither of us spoke much at first. The trail felt familiar now. The scent of wet leaves, the damp soil beneath our feet, the gentle sound of water moving through the landscape. Everything that had felt foreign on my first day now felt strangely comforting, like returning to a place I had known for much longer. The forest was beginning to feel less like a destination and more like a friend. As we walked, sunlight slowly broke through the clouds. Golden beams slipped through the canopy. Tiny droplets sparkled on leaves. The entire rainforest seemed to glow. At one point, we stopped beside a giant tree. Its roots spread across the forest floor like the walls of an ancient city. I placed my hand against the bark. The tree stood completely still, silent, patient, ancient. Arun stood beside me. "What are you thinking?" I smiled. "Honestly? Of course. I was wrong." He laughed softly. "About what?" "About Thailand." The morning breeze moved gently through the leaves above us. Birds called from somewhere high in the canopy. I looked around. The forest seemed endless. I thought I understood this country. Arun nodded. "Many people do." I thought Thailand was beaches. It has beaches. I thought Thailand was street food. It has street food. I thought Thailand was temples. It has temples. We both smiled. But that's not the whole story. No, the forest stretched around us, green in every direction, alive in every direction. And suddenly I understood why this place mattered. Not only because it was old, not only because it was beautiful, but because it challenged assumptions. It reminded visitors that countries are always deeper than stereotypes. Every place contains stories hidden beneath the surface. Thailand was no exception. Perhaps that was why so many travelers returned home with different perspectives. Not because Thailand changed, because they did. We continued walking. Eventually, we reached a viewpoint overlooking the valley. The mist had begun to lift. Mountains emerged slowly from the clouds. The river appeared once again. The rainforest stretched toward the horizon. A sea of green, layer after layer, ancient and alive. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Words seemed unnecessary. Finally, Arun broke the silence. You know something interesting? What? Most visitors remember the views. That's understandable. They remember the lake, the mountains, the animals, the photographs. I nodded. But, he smiled, the people who return usually remember the feeling. The feeling, I knew exactly what he meant. The feeling of slowing down. The feeling of perspective. The feeling that nature was not separate from life. But part of it, the feeling that some things cannot be measured in money, productivity, or speed. The rainforest offered something increasingly rare. Space. Space to think. Space to notice. Space to listen. As the morning continued, we made our way back toward the lodge. The forest seemed brighter than ever. Or perhaps I was seeing it differently. A butterfly crossed the path. A lizard disappeared into the undergrowth. Birdsong echoed through the trees. Small details. Ordinary details. Yet somehow beautiful. The rainforest had taught me to notice them. Around midday, I packed my bag. My departure time had arrived. The same van that had brought me here would soon carry me away. Back toward cities. Back toward airports. Back toward the familiar rhythm of modern life. Part of me looked forward to it. Another part did not. Before leaving, I sat one final time on the terrace overlooking the river. The mist had disappeared completely. The mountains stood clear beneath a bright blue sky. The forest seemed endless, and perhaps in some ways it was. Not literally, but spiritually, its story stretched far beyond the limits of human memory. Millions of years, countless generations, endless cycles of growth and renewal. A reminder that the world contains wonders older than our imaginations. Arun joined me one last time. Neither of us felt the need for a long goodbye. Some places create friendships quietly, without effort, without ceremony. This felt like one of those moments. As the van approached, I stood and picked up my bag. Then, I turned toward the rainforest. One final look, one final breath of humid tropical air. One final moment. The forest remained exactly as it had been when I arrived. Patient, calm, ancient. Yet, I was no longer the same person who had stepped out of that van a few days earlier. I had arrived believing I understood Thailand. I was leaving knowing how much I had missed. I had arrived thinking the Amazon was the only rainforest worthy of wonder. I was leaving with deep respect for a forest older than most people realize exists. I had arrived searching for a destination. I was leaving with a lesson. As the van pulled away, the jungle slowly disappeared behind the trees. The mountains faded into the distance. The river vanished from sight. Yet, the feeling remained. And somewhere along the winding road back toward the modern world, I finally understood what the rainforest had been trying to teach me all along. Patience, respect, connection. The same lessons shared by villagers, by guides, by elders, by the landscape itself. The forest never shouted those lessons. It didn't need to. Ancient things rarely do. They simply wait, quietly, patiently, for someone willing to listen. And perhaps that is why Thailand's ancient rainforest remains one of the country's greatest hidden treasures. Not because it is older than the Amazon, though that is remarkable. Not because it is beautiful, though it certainly is. But because among its mist-covered mountains and endless green canopy, visitors often discover something unexpected, a different way of seeing the world. The afternoon sun shone through the van window. The road curved gently through the countryside. Behind me, Khao Sok continued its timeless existence. Birds still called from the canopy. Rain still nourished the trees. Rivers still flow through ancient valleys. The rainforest carried on, as it always had, as it always would. And somewhere deep within that vast green wilderness, hidden beneath leaves older than memory, Thailand's ancient story continued, waiting patiently for the next traveler who believed they already knew everything about this remarkable country, waiting to surprise them too. The end. Thailand still holds countless stories waiting to be discovered. If you would like to continue this journey together, I hope to see you again in the next story from Thailand Through Eyes. And if there is somewhere in Thailand you wish to visit through story, leave your suggestion below. Perhaps our next journey will begin there. Bye.